99X and the Morning X. Barnes and Leslie, your true crime headquarters, right, Fram?
Always number one.
And there is something going on locally that you need to pay attention to because it's easy to get duped. And we have Savannah Levins coming on from 11 Alive to get in depth. But here's just a little intro from her story to let you know what's going on with Uber, or what you think is Uber.
The hidden camera in my glasses capturing the conversations.
Oh, you just give me the address?
4 people within an hour stopped me on the way to the rideshare pickup area offering a ride.
I can't even pick however you want to do it.
Hey, do you need a ride? I work for Uber. I can take you home. Where do you live?
This is Nicole Frazier.
By the time I got to baggage claim, it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
She recalls the recent early morning when this same thing happened to her.
That to me struck me as just very odd because I know how the system works with Lyft and Uber, where you go to a certain section in Atlanta airport. She only approached me, single female, by myself. I was very fearful for my life. I was very uncomfortable. It just did not feel like his intentions was to get me safely home. There was no security around for me to even go to at that time.
All right, let's welcome Savannah Levins on from 11 Alive. Good morning, Savannah.
Hey, good morning. Thank you guys for having me at True Crime HQ.
Yes, we're True Crime headquarters.
This happens all the time, though, Barnes. I mean, first of all, just to get to the rideshare area in a lot of airports, it's like you're walking to another country, right, Savannah?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it is. We were just talking about that before we came on. I mean, you follow all these different signs. And frankly, in the Atlanta airport, the signage is pretty bad to get all the way through that parking deck to get to the rideshare area. So it is confusing. And I think people are preying on that a bit.
Well, and the one thing that's it should be pointed out is if you're coming to Atlanta, maybe even a first time, we all take it for granted. We know the system. But if I was to walk out in an airport that I've never been in and I just see the dudes like, oh yeah, here I am. They act like they know you're coming. That could be so dangerous. Have there been any results that from people getting in these cars that have shown up to be bad or missing or hurt or...
Well, the tough part is that a lot of the police reports are when police are intercepting these people before they're getting into the vehicle. So some of the concern is once they get in the car, we don't really know what's happened. Some of them may have very well gotten home safely and that driver just made a few extra bucks. If something more nefarious happened, we don't know about it. We do know in one case, a woman tried to get into one of the vehicles. Atlanta airport security tried to intervene and said, hey, don't get in that car. And then the driver took off with her luggage and led police on a chase. And that luggage was eventually recovered. So that's one case we know where someone at least almost got in the vehicle.
Have there been many arrests here? Because I saw your story and I guess the mayor said they do intercept a lot of people.
They do. They have made several arrests, issued a lot of citations. The tough part, I think, is when they do intercept these people, the charges are solicitation and staging or potentially criminal trespass. So they're not exactly heavy duty. And then these people do get banned from the airport, but a lot of them are coming back. So when I talked to Atlanta police, they did say a lot of these folks are repeat offenders. They might just not have the ability to put really heavy duty charges on them that will stick.
Isn't it so easy, though, for them to just put someone down in a couple of those hallways to just sniff them out and just keep running them off or whatever they need to do? It seems very obvious.
Yeah, and they say they've been doing that. When I interviewed Major Collier with the airport division with Atlanta Police, he did say that they do undercover details sometimes. They have people standing around. And that's why we decided to kind of go undercover our investigative team, because we wanted to see if that was actually playing out, if they were being caught, and how many people might try to intercept me if I were to walk around with an empty suitcase and look a little confused.
We're talking to 11 Alive reporter Savannah Levins about the fake ride shares. Has this ever happened to you? Have you been there where somebody came up to you and they were like, what's your address? I can give you a ride.
Yeah. It happened to me before. We did this story because we got a viewer email saying, hey, what's up with all these people standing around baggage claim offering me a ride? And it clicked in my head that it had happened to me in the past. My husband and I landed in Atlanta. And obviously, like you said, Leslie, we know where to go for the rideshare area, right? So I just didn't think much of it. And to be honest, I think my assumption, even looking into it initially, was a lot of these people probably are just trying to skirt the extra fees that Uber and Lyft take. They could very well be rideshare drivers. They're just trying to make a little extra cash. And in some cases, that could be true. But when we started digging into these repeat offenders and their criminal backgrounds, some really concerning stuff came out.
Well, and that's why they can't do it legit. They've come up to me also. I think everyone that travels through here a lot has had to have them come up to them. But I think that it's more of that. I think it's these people who are desperate to make a living and they can't get cleared to drive Uber, which some of the drivers that I've had drive me to the airport,
Shouldn't
I don't
have
know
been cleared.
how they got cleared, like for
I'm
real.
with you.
One dude showed up with no back window.
I agree.
I'm like, bro, it's winter. And he like thought nothing of it and got mad and sped away. But like I think that's what this is. Although there's got to be a way to get to corral these, if it's repeat offenders especially, corral them and let's put them with the water boys and like get that whole entrepreneur, you know what I mean? Like whatever it takes. The city's doing this program where they're trying to help these people on the street find real work.
Yeah, Barnes, I think you're right. And I think that there is a debate over whether this should be something that's high priority, because some people do look at it as people just trying to make a living. And I think that was part of our investigation where we tried to explain some of the concerns here with some of the criminal backgrounds, that it might not just be people on the up and up all the time. I mean, we had on the criminal records everything from DUIs to drug trafficking to terroristic threats to assaults to, sex crimes. So it was definitely concerning when you look at it that way.
This is just fascinating, but it's really like a public service announcement. So thank you for being on with us, Savannah. Savannah Levins, 11 Alive reporter on this whole fake rideshare. Have there been any sting operations, major arrests recently?
Yeah, it was interesting. About 2 hours before my story aired, Atlanta police and the airport sent out a press release saying that they had done an undercover sting and arrested about 6 people or charged 6 people for this. So it seems like they are, taking it seriously and really cracking down on this. So we'll see if those people continue to be repeat offenders. But again, they're banned from the airport. So they have not only APD, but airport security. They say 24/7 looking for these folks. And they're really warning everyone, not to get into a vehicle unless you called it on your app and you can confirm what that license plate number is and the name of your driver. Just be extra safe, especially at the world's busiest airport, Atlanta, Hartsfield Jackson. Just be really extra careful.
You know what's caused this is all the inconsistency with Uber and Lyft in the first place at the airport. It flip and changes all the time, and they keep coming up with new systems that are, by the way, the worst of any airport that I've seen as far as where they're tucking Uber away or Lyft. So that they're creating, in a sense, a little bit of this problem themselves.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be people willing to take advantage of chaos and confusion. Yes. And I think Atlanta Airport chaos and confusion sometimes can go hand in hand.
And the conundrum of it's the people who can't get a legit job doing this because of their background check. So they're taking it into their own hands. You don't want to ride with like child molesters or, deviants or whatever who couldn't get. There's a reason that they screen them, right?
Yeah. And I think, Barnes, you're right. I don't want to say that every single person doing this is some sort of sexual deviant, of course. And I don't want to imply that in our investigation. But it's certainly something that had a caliber of concern that we wanted to bring to the public in our investigation. And I'm so glad you guys had me on to talk about it, because it's something people need to be aware of, especially for people flying their young kids. Yeah. I mean, I remember flying when I was 15, 16 for the first time. That easily, would have been me falling for something like that. So something for parents to talk to their kids about as well.
Well, it has been proven, though, by the people they're scooping up.
Yes.
This is, factual that these are people who with, not the most glowing resume.
Yes. Many of them, most of them, I would say, yes.
So to speak. Well, thank you for sharing this with us. I think it is important to call it out. And I know it's the obvious and it's happening, but people miss stuff sometimes. And if you're not paying it, you're on a phone call for work, you're walking out of the airport and you think that's your Uber, because of course they got out of the car to come over and help you with your luggage. What planet are you from?
And they'll hold phones that say like Uber, that's like flashing on the phone or something.
Scary.
And then when I went up to them, in this undercover operation, I said, so you're an Uber driver, you're a Lyft driver? They said, oh, no, but I'm closer, I'm cheaper, just get in right here. So yeah, they'll try to intercept you. I mean, walking to the rideshare area, 4 different people intercepted me.
Unbelievable.
And yeah.
It is scary. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Savannah.
Savannah Levins, 11 Alive. This is The Morning X, your true crime headquarters, I guess.
The Morning X with Barnes and Leslie.
99X.